everybody, and welcome to The Stable. We just got finished, quite literally, watching AEW's Revolution 2024, Sting's final match. That is the thing that everyone is going to remember. But what a great show. Just what an absolutely top to bottom great show. Like, I was thoroughly impressed. I'm Josh, by the way, and
I'm Dr. Deb, by the way.
So I think we're just going to get into the results, provide some highlights, and then ultimately come down and talk about our main event for the evening. Mm-hmm. So for the 0 hour, which AEW has done a great job of making the 0 hour be important.
Yeah.
So I must recommend it. It was a couple of really good matches. We had the the 12-man tag of the Bang Bang Scissor Gang taking on Jeff Jarrett and his lollygagging crew of folks. Do you have the whole list in front of you?
I do. You're welcome. Switchblade, Jay White, The Guns, The Acclaimed, and Daddy Ass. That's what his name is, so I'm going to say it. Billy Gunn versus Jeff Jarrett, Jay White. That's not right.
No, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Private Party, and Willie Mack.
Bleacher Report.
That's what I was looking at too.
Yeah,
anyways,
it's Jay White and Jay White. Jay White fought himself. Did you know that? I did not know that.
He's that good.
He is that good. Jay Lethal, Willie Mack, Satnam Singh, and Private Party. And
the Bang Bang Scissor Gang got the victory and took a moment to let Jay White cut a promo afterwards teasing some possible big business coming up on the March 13th episode of Dynamite. We'll see what that means then. Then they followed that up with a women's tag team match pitting Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale, managed by Stokely Hathaway, versus the TBS champion Julia Hart and Sky Blue. And this was another nice showcase of the women, especially when there was only one main women's match scheduled, and I think it's because Julia Hart was hurt recently, so she's probably still recovering, and they let this tag team match kind of go through. But it was also an opportunity for Chris Statlander and Will Nightingale to really show that they're great as a team and keep Stokely at the commentary booth.
Yeah, it gave him something to do. Positive reinforcement over there in the booth. No, I mean, it was a good, solid match. I mean, it definitely wasn't, it wasn't like as amazing as some of the matches later, but it was solid. I mean, it was worth watching. It was definitely, it was a good showcase for the four of them. They got their time on there, and we'll see more of them in the future. So I thought it was good.
Generally, I give 0 hour a thumbs up. Like, is it like the whole thing was good? Good video packages, a couple good wrestling matches, and really got you interested in the overall pay-per-view. Yeah,
I'd give it a solid, B. If I was doing a grade, I'd definitely be passing. I don't know. I can't do a thumbs up, thumbs down. That's not.
We're giving it a B thumbs up.
We're giving it a B. We're not. No, it's not orange. It's a little more than orange. Oranges.
A little more.
A little more than oranges.
That's it. Okay. So to start our show off proper, we had our TNT Championship match pitting Daniel Garcia versus the champion, the patriarch Christian Cage himself. And Danny came out there by himself in a great Sting-inspired bomber jacket. Yeah. Put on a very, very good match against Christian Cage and had to deal with the odds being stacked against him the entire time with Killswitch and Nick Wayne and Mother Wayne all out there providing various forms of distractions. I don't think I'm ever really going to forget poor Nick Wayne trying to distract Danny Garcia, only to get flipped over, barely miss a chair, and then slam into the LED wall that snapped his neck back. But you know what? In the end, he
walked away.
He did his job.
Okay.
And Luchasaurus, of course, got involved as well, and ultimately the numbers game and the distractions and the dirty tactics of Christian Cage.
He's not the dirtiest player in the game, but
he did retain his TNT title.
Shocker.
So I call it kind of a mid-thumb side type match. It was a good opener, but I wouldn't give it an up or a down. It was kind of in the middle, but Danny Garcia was way over.
Maybe a B-.
So I look forward to seeing whatever comes out of him later.
No, Danny Garcia's got a great future ahead of him, and I thought he did great against Christian Cage. He had the rhythm of the match had to be a little bit slower because Christian Cage is 50. I hate to tell everyone that part, but
Danny's 25.
Yeah, exactly. So literally half his age. So I thought thought it was a good balance between the two. Danny didn't run away with it, and Christian got some good stuff in there. Between the shenanigans. So yeah, I thought it was good.
See, okay, so a little better than mid.
Right.
C plus.
C plus. Solid. Sure.
Sure. Our next match was the Continental Crown Championship, pitting Bryan Danielson against our Triple Crown champion, Eddie Kingston, Uncle Eddie himself.
Uncle Eddie. Oh.
And man,
it was good.
These two beat the fire out of each other. Their chops and submission holds and suplexes, and there are a couple sequences between the back and forth of suplexes between Bryan and Eddie, and then the chop battles back and forth. It just so much back and forth that I hope the plan is to continue forward with these Continental Crown Championship defenses to try and continually feel like the Continental Classic, which we're all going to look forward to at the end of every year.
Yeah.
I know we haven't been on as a recording in quite a while, but this was a nice pay-per-view to kind of come back, kind of get our thoughts together. And Eddie and Bryan really remind you why professional wrestling is exactly that. It is a wrestling match, and man, really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Eddie got to showcase mat work and submission holds and reversal of submissions in a way he doesn't usually, because he's such a brawler. He can beat the tar out of anything. And so it showed us a little bit different side of him. And of course, Danielson's skill in that could showcase that as well. So I really thought it was a different rhythm than what we normally see from Eddie. And Eddie came out on top, and there was finally that show of respect between Danielson when he actually did shake his hand. So definitely one that folks should watch. Like, if you're not going to watch the whole thing, watch that one. Definitely worth your time.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. That one got a thumbs up.
What do you think? B plus?
Yeah.
A minus-ish? Yeah?
Yeah, I would...
That's a difficult one to say, and we'll explain why here in a little bit, because there are at least 2, possibly 3 more matches that are above it, but not by a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see, what do we have next? Was there a women's match next? Nope, it was the scramble.
It was the All-Star 8-man scramble. To me, this was the bathroom match, literally. I took my kids up to bed and we brushed their teeth in the bathroom. So it was literally my bathroom match.
So I'll try to provide a little bit more input. This was supposed to be our Meat Madness match, but with both Miro and Keith Lee injured, they decided to change it to an all-star scramble. But we had Chris Jericho, Will Hobbs, Lance Archer, Wardlow, Dante Martin, Hook, Brian Cage, and Magnus from CMLL. And within the first 5 minutes, Jericho, Dante Martin, Hook, and Magnus were out of the ring, and we got our Meat Madness match anyways. And the crowd was in it. We had our meat chants. We had lots of slamming. We had spine busters. We had power slams, clotheslines, punches, everything. Everything you would expect from a big man, meaty, slapping match happened at the beginning of this. And then the luchadors said, hey, we went in on this, and they started going crazy.
Then all the flying people came in and started flying, I assume, because I didn't see this. So I'm just imagining.
Dante Martin, please don't break your ankle again.
Fly, 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 fly.
Because he got a little ahead of himself in a couple of instances.
Okay. Dante.
But we also had, this match was very much around Brian Cage and Hook continuing their kind of storyline around the FTW Championship. And Chris Jericho just is kind of there right now.
There.
Ultimately, I think it was more about Wardlow. Like, Wardlow needed to be the star.
Yeah. Trying to push him for another push. I'm not sure what direction they're going to push him to.
He's going to go for the world title. Like, if you follow the Undisputed Kingdom storyline that's going on, it was the Kingdom would win the Ring of Honor Tag Championships, which they've done.
Spoiler.
No, that wasn't tonight. They won that earlier in the year.
No, they did win that. Sorry.
Roderick Strong's supposed to go after the International Championship.
That's right. That
we'll
comes
talk about
a little
that
later.
And then Wardlow was supposed to go after the world title and then give it to Adam Cole. That was what Adam said was the plan for the Undisputed Kingdom. So Wardlow's got to go after that. And as a result, Wardlow won the scramble, which means he gets a future world title shot. Could that be at the newly announced AEW Dynasty pay-per-view taking place on April 21st? Maybe.
The two very large men.
The winner of the World Heavyweight Championship match from later that we haven't gotten to yet versus Wardlow.
Well, I mean, they're going to just fast forward later, but that's going to be good gravy. Okay. Anyway, Wardlow wins.
I give it a thumbs up. You're probably going to So I'll give it a good B, maybe B plus, but definitely a good B. It was a good match. Wardlow gets the win. going to be good for his career.
There you go.
What do we got next? We have the International Championship.
Oh, look at that.
Pitting Roderick Strong versus the multiple defending champion Orange Cassidy, who did ask that his best friends stay in the back because he was tired of seeing his friends get hurt protecting him. Well, that didn't work out in his favor. But that said, Roderick Strong's friends didn't get involved either. They had a great back and forth. You had Orange doing his whole shtick, but he's also in that more aggressive streak where you'll see him do the soft kicks that turn into the hard kicks. There were Stun Dog Millionaires. He went for the beach break a couple times. He went for orange punches a couple times. Roderick threw out a number of back breakers in a match that I've never seen, particularly the one from the Uranagi into the backbreaker. He hit that a bunch of times. But when he finally hit his finishing maneuver, and Cassidy was like at a 45-degree angle when he hit the knees.
Yeah.
If he wasn't injured,
it looked rough.
He made it very clear why he should take a break.
Yeah. If they were going for the I've been beat up one too many times line, that will work fantastic now. But legit, I really hope he's okay, because I saw them, like, and Lance did too, like leaning over and being like, had the face of, "Are you good?"
Oh yeah, and shout out to Lance on tech behind us.
Yeah, Lance is right back there. See, there's the hand behind the curtain. Yeah, and then he just sort of rolls out, and then Orange disappeared. So we're like, okay, I haven't read anything about injuries, so hopefully he's just really beat up. But
well, and the media scrum I think is going on right now.
That's
so
true.
We'll have to check that out at a later time.
Yeah.
I'm going to give that one a thumbs up too. Probably that BB plus range as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say,
Roderick Strong is your new international champion. But the next big story out of that one, before we move on, is the returning Kyle O'Reilly. Of course, formerly of the Undisputed era, formerly of the Undisputed Elite. He's been out injured for about a year and a half. He came in, teased like he was going to attack the Kingdom, didn't, hugged Roddy, and then Mike Bennett went to give him his Undisputed Kingdom shirt, but he gave it back. He told Roddy, "I want to earn it." At least that's what we think he said.
We think that's what he said?
Either way, glad to see Kyle O'Reilly back. Very intriguing to see where he lands in the whole Undisputed Kingdom side of things, especially with Adam Cole still recovering from the broken foot and without an MJF. So it'll be good to kind of keep the Undisputed Kingdom in the main stories while those guys still have time to heal up. So I'm excited to see where that goes.
Been new stories. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I thought it was a good match. Yeah, I'm just curious to see what they're going to do, because Adam Cole is not ready for prime time yet, but obviously they still got him in the center as this mastermind kind of character. And then MJF's got to heal. So, yeah, I mean, they're building story in there, you know, with the hope, you know, of obviously launching it strong and really hot once MJF comes back, I'm assuming. But we'll have to see what happens.
Next is a tag team grudge match between FTR and the Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley.
Yes.
This match came about because they had a match on Dynamite that went to a 20-minute draw.
Yep.
And they just wanted to keep fighting. And Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler were like, "We're going to keep fighting, and we know we can beat you. So let's have a match." And they had a match, and my goodness, what a fight. Dax was bleeding. Claudio was bleeding at some point. I think Mox actually may not have bled, if at all, which was surprising.
It was very confusing. Mox was actually pretty clean. I think the blood on him was from other people.
Right.
I don't think
primarily
it was his
from
own.
Dax, because Dax was bleeding a lot.
Dax was bleeding a lot.
There were. I don't know if we saw the Shatter Machine but once.
Right.
And of course, Claudio and John don't really have a finisher per se.
Right.
But my goodness, first off, Claudio and John come out wearing the shoulder pads of the Legion of Doom. So that was a cool little tease.
Great.
We saw Doomsday Devices. We saw the Shatter Machine. We saw a double sleeper hold finish, I believe.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened, because I think Dax passed out.
They did.
And the Blackpool Combat Club did get the victory.
Yeah.
But punches, and we saw paradigm shifts and pile drivers, spike pile drivers.
It was
tons of breakups. It showed a rougher side to tag team wrestling that we haven't seen a lot of in AEW. Now, we did see it with FTR and the Briscoes, which I very much felt like there was a lot of homages to that. And I don't think we're done. because they had the tie, and now the Blackpool Combat Club have a victory. And I don't think FTR is going to be satisfied with that.
No. And that was a solid enough match that I would be surprised if Tony didn't want to go for a third.
Do you think we get a dog collar match with these two in the future?
Yes.
Like I would be down with that.
I didn't know I needed that in my life, but yes,
Right.
I think a dog collar match would be fantastic. Or I don't even know what else you could do with it. I mean, you could do steel cage. Oh Lord, help us if you did steel cage. I don't know, but if you can come up with something even a little crazier. Yeah, it was not a pretty tag match. This was a brutal beat the shit out of somebody match, but it was great. I would give that. I mean, you think? A minus at least. A minus to A.
I was going to say A minus. I was going to put it in the same realm as Brian and Eddie.
Yeah.
I was going to say about A minus as well because it wasn't very clear on the finish. Like I know Dax passed out.
Yeah.
But when you're used to seeing the three hand up, which they even did in Brian and Eddie's match, and Eddie did the thumbs up to say he was fine. Like,
yeah, it was a little unclear.
But then the music hit, and you're like, oh, okay, apparently they won, and it's like, well, this is why. But
if they rushed
otherwise,
a little bit, but.
I still think they've got somewhere to go, which is good because that means we've got more they can give us.
Absolutely.
I just got a message from Lance that he sums up tonight's pay-per-view as nostalgic, and that certainly will come into play here in a couple of matches, maybe a little bit in our women's title match. Deonna Purrazzo taking on Timeless Tony Storm. Former best friends, now rivals. Let's get the fainting chair.
Oh, my smelling salts. I don't know.
The difficulty here is there was a little bit of repetitiveness, and that was the distraction finish, which Christian Cage had one earlier, and now Tony has one when Mariah May tried to distract Deonna. Of course, Deonna then kicked Mariah into the front row, but Luther had the ref distracted, so when Deonna turned around, she got kicked in the gut, hit with the Storm Zero, and Tony got the 1, 2, 3. And lots of back and forth with the submission holds. Good moves exchanges. Deonna looked really good. Lots of arm bars.
Yeah.
But it was just, it was tough to really get into it. It felt like and it could be just that people are not used to Deonna yet in AEW. Deonna has a career, but it may just be the fans just may not be as used to her. But I also don't think our time with Timeless Tony is done.
No. I think she's probably I think she has more she wants to do. I agree. It felt a little bit, I don't know, I'd give it a B, maybe. B to B.
You were better than me. I was going to go C+.
You know, C+. B, I was going to B.
All right, B minus it is.
B minus.
Right in the middle.
It wasn't bad. Definitely, you could watch it, and it was not a bad match, but it didn't feel like it had quite the rhythm that I was hoping for. I don't know. I guess I was hoping for maybe a little tougher, a little meatier. That sounds terrible when I'm talking about a ladies match, but a little more dig in, and we didn't need the distraction at the end. It was I was getting tired of the distraction. I don't like distraction finishes anyway. Just finish it, okay? I don't need distract me. Just finish it. So yeah, B minus.
Okay.
So.
Up next,
Tony retained, by the way.
Yes, Tony retained. I said that.
Retained.
She got the 1, 2, 3.
I missed it.
Okay. Up next is the AEW debut that everyone was looking forward to, where Konosuke Takeshita takes on the debuting Will Ospreay, the Billy Goat himself, from the Don Callis family. It was just a couple of teammates really testing each other to see who really is the best. And as hyped up as Will Ospreay is, they put Takeshita on a equal footing with Will for almost the entire match. The back and forth is something I haven't seen from people since probably Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega at Forbidden Door last year.
Indeed.
So obviously Will knows how to do the back and forth match.
So good. It's so good.
Will Ospreay has a contusion on his back right now.
Oh, Lord, does
because
he?
of a slightly botched, like deadlifting suplex brainbuster onto the top rope turnbuckle that missed the turnbuckle, and Ospreay's back hit the top turnbuckle instead. So he's got he's going to have a bruise there for at least a week, maybe a little bit longer.
We were legit concerned. Like, is he going to be able to finish? Like, I was like, you can call it now. Like, whoever's going to win, just win, and it's all good. But they ended up.
They kept going.
They kept going.
Takeshita did hit, as Simon Miller said, the least devastating move in all of professional wrestling of the Blue Thunder Bomb.
Which never wins.
Reversing the first hidden blade.
Yeah.
But, of course, it was a 2 count.
Yeah.
Takeshita kicked out of a hidden blade. I thought Takeshita was going to knock Will's head off 3 or 4 different times with his forearm. And ultimately the win came when Will pulled off the elbow pad, hit the hidden blade to the back of the head for a 1-2-3. And then we saw a great, they hugged. They then got down to the Japanese bow to each other, showing respect. Kyle Fletcher returned, another member of the Doghouse family, current Ring of Honor television champion. And then we were informed that on Dynamite Wednesday, it's going to be Kyle Fletcher versus Will Ospreay, continuing this teammates testing each other story. Boy, talk about being jealous if Will beats everyone in the Don Callis family.
That wouldn't put him in an awkward position at all.
At all.
Nope.
So when I say that Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston was an A-, and the Blackpool Combat Club and FTR is an A-, it's because this match is an A+.
Yeah.
And it's only because I'm not trying to be that guy that gives out 5 pluses. Dave Meltzer's going to go ahead and give that one 6 or 7 stars anyways, even though it's not in the Tokyo Dome. We're going to give it an A+. Because we're not established enough to add more pluses.
Nope, we're not allowed. But if we could do a double plus, I would do that. But no, we'll let Uncle
reserve
Dave.
That one.
Uncle Dave can have that one. But
we'll reserve it for the returning Kenny Omega when he gets better from diverticulitis.
Yes, we will. Come on, you can
let's
do it,
go,
Kenny.
Will Ospreay. Look forward to see where that's going next.
It was gorgeous. I don't even know. So many times I just literally started giggling like a little girl and was just clapping because it was just their timing. It was crisp. It was fast. Nobody moves like Will Ospreay these days. And Kenny Omega is amazing, but anyway, it was amazing. It was fantastic. And they were like, fight forever. And I'm like, yes, you can fight forever. Please.
Our next match was the triple threat for the World Heavyweight Championship. This match probably had the most story out of anything going on for the night. Brian and Eddie had a nice story going on with Eddie's a bum, and you got to show me respect, and that was important. And that was, of course, extending from the Continental Classic. But this one stems back from the middle of last year with one of the best feuds of 2023 with Swerve and Hangman.
Yeah.
And then the new champion, Samoa Joe, establishing his ranking, and I want the best of the best. These guys couldn't even beat each other. Now I got to face both of them. Hangman's lower thirds said he's absolutely lost it.
Yep.
And that was accurate. Between the multiple buckshots and the Swerve hitting multiple Swerve stomps, the constant Hangman stopping Swerve, Swerve stopping Hangman, this all happened after Samoa Joe threw them around like they were nothing.
Right.
And showed us why he might be 300 pounds, but he still moves like a cat. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Super strong. Multiple opportunities. There was even an opportunity where Prince Nana gave his headband, which had medals on it, which I think Lance deemed the headband of championships. It was weird. That's what it looked like. It had like little tokens of championships on it. But anyways.
Whatever.
Tried to hand it to Swerve. It's like, no, I'm going to win it my way. And there were times when Swerve and Hangman both had Joe beat, but the refs were down. Twice it was because Hangman knocked the ref out. Just knocked him out cold.
Bryce. Was it Bryce?
Bryce Remsburg and Paul Turner both got knocked out.
Bryce is the only referee that I have personally seen in all of watching professional wrestling who was paying attention when another ref got bumped and actually came in. It's possible.
Yeah, Paul Turner got pulled out of the ring. Bryce came in later.
That a ref can actually be watching. That not all of the refs are all asleep or drunk or gone when a ref bump happens. So it's been proven, Tony Khan, that some ref can be watching. And then what does Hangman do? He beats up Bryce.
He does.
And I'm like, I hate Hangman forever. And Josh is like, why? I was like, he's the only ref who's ever been paying attention, and he gets beat up.
Okay, sorry, Bryce. See, Hangman's absolutely lost it. To the point that Swerve had Joe down, and Hangman knocked out Bryce, and then Hangman hit 2 buckshots, but there was no ref. So there were just so many different things happened.
His own daggum fault.
Ultimately, it came down to Hangman was in the Coquina Clutch, which is Samoa Joe's sleeper finisher, and he tapped. And I just read something from Dave Meltzer, who tweeted that it looks like the story they may be going with is that Hangman tapped just so Swerve couldn't win.
Oh, that's devious.
I'm saying Swerve. Hangman has absolutely lost it, and that is where this is going.
He'd rather have Joe keep it than Swerve get it.
That's right.
Oh,
it's so good, right? I'm giving this one an A. Absolutely. I think they told the story very well. I think that they tied up so many different things, but allow this to continue, especially with Hangman and Swerve. I know that Miz like, well, why are you saying it's better than Bryan and Eddie? Because the story was better. That's my thought. I don't know you.
I'm going to go with A- because I thought the Eddie Danielson story. I love Bryan Danielson, so it's hard for me to rank the Joe match above a Bryan Danielson match. So I do say that. I thought the wrestling with Eddie and Bryan was a little bit better. Like I thought that because of the complexity of some of the stuff they were doing and the pins and the locks and the reversals and stuff like that was a little bit more. And because we had so many shenanigans, I don't like shenanigans. In case y'all don't know, I hate shenanigans.
She really doesn't.
And so we got refs knocked out. We got refs coming in. That ref gets knocked out. I'm like, look, guys, if you're just going to do a free-for-all, then just do a free-for-all in the backyard and be done with it, okay? Why do we even have refs if they're going to be knocked out every 10 seconds, okay? But anyway, so that's why I would give it an A-, but...
All right. Anyway. We'll concede on an A-. We'll go with the lower.
Well, I mean, we can whatever's in between an A and an A-. I don't think that exists.
It's just going to be an A- for now. It's okay. We can agree in disagreement.
Yeah, you can.
I think. Anyways,
it was a really good match. We agree on that one.
Now we get to our main event.
Oh.
And first they bring out Ric Flair, and then the surprise guest timekeeper of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. So that was a nice little nostalgia moment. For them to then show at ringside Magnum TA, Nikita Koloff, and Scotty Riggs, that one.
There you go.
Like not Jerry Sags and the Nasty Boys, Scotty Riggs from Raven's Flock, that one.
Yeah.
And apparently DDP was in attendance as well.
Aw.
And so was Lex Luger. They were both all in attendance as well. So
that's cool.
Then the Young Bucks came out wearing classic robes that they look like they stole from a hotel. And
Did they go to a spa beforehand?
I don't know.
Clothes? I don't know.
And then their outfits were like 3-button vests as part of a suit.
But they lost the shirt.
But no shirt or jacket.
Or jacket.
One was red, one was black. Both looked like they are the EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas.
It was a weird Japanese dojo / I got lost on my way to the boardroom.
I don't know. I appreciated the entrance, but...
It was interesting. I'm not sure I totally got it, but it was interesting.
Then Darby Allin came out, got his music. Funny thing, he threw the title onto the stage. I was like, are you going to come down with a skateboard? And then I see the title hit the stage. I'm like, that doesn't seem right, but all right, we'll go with it.
Whatever goes.
And then they look up, everything goes black, and we see Sting. We see a movie montage. Yes, of course, Sting, the Stinger. Is this Sting's last match? I had to represent some way. Of course, he's a tag team champion, that one.
He is, yeah, he's back there. He's also watching us from over there.
Oh, yeah.
What would he like to, I'm going to say? He's watching you. He's watching you.
I say focus is all the way over here. Whatever.
That's all right. He's still watching
Sting kind of showed up. Good luck. Anyways, so they do a movie bit where he sits down in an empty movie theater and they do just a montage of his career. Oh, yeah. The marquee said the final showtime, I think is what it said.
Yeah.
And they do a montage of his career through New Japan and AEW. Because apparently WWE and TNA neither offered up video or they didn't ask. I don't know. But it was still really cool to see because there was a lot of stuff that nobody had ever seen from New Japan.
Yeah.
Between him teaming with the Great Muta and taking on Antonio Inoki. And then they saw a few pictures of him winning his world title through WCW and then his debut in AEW. And then once the video was done playing, he looked at the camera and he's like, it's showtime. For the last time, let's do this. As he's staring like daggers. And then his music hits. And I thought Lance was going to have the best moment of his life as this red, white, and blue donned with the red, white, blue face paint Sting
Blonde
look-alike walks on stage. And then another one walks on stage, a little skinnier though, with the red and black motif of the Wolfpack. And I'm like, why are they so familiar? The music dies down, and then we get, is it Megadeth? Seek and Destroy, Metallica? Is that who that is?
I think so.
I think it's Metallica.
Yeah.
Seek and Destroy starts playing again. Same music he used it All In. It was the later half of his WCW career. And Sting walks out, and then it hits me. His sons are the ones dressed up as the other Sting personas. And we start our Tornado Tag Team title match.
They just jumped right into it.
With Sting's boys coming in the ring and hitting a bunch of Stinger splashes on the Bucks. And
They deserved it.
just chaos continues.
Chaos
and I
ensued.
cannot put into words everything that happened here.
It's showtime.
But
You
there
know
were
what that
there were a
means.
couple of specific moments that happened that are just going to live on forever. Number one, Darby Allin took a Falcon Arrow off the stage through a table. Sting took a suplex off the stage through the table. At some point, Sting put a bat through a plate of glass, which is important because late in the match, he then got thrown into a plate of glass. And I'm like, oh, that's horrible. That really wasn't that horrible because about 5 minutes before that,
What was horrible?
Darby Allin, who, as we all know, has absolutely lost it,
Yes.
decides he's going to do a senton off of a 10-foot ladder that's in the ring to the outside onto Nicholas Jackson, who's standing by 6 chairs with another plate of glass leaning across it.
Because that's a good idea.
And as Darby is halfway down, Matthew pulls Nicholas out of the way, and Darby goes through a plate of glass over 6 chairs, 4 of which get out of the way. One of them does not. Mm-hmm. And when he rolls over, after the shattered glasses everywhere, he starts bleeding as if he'd been stabbed by multiple combs. Just somebody took him with a tenderizer.
Someone took a meat
awful.
tenderizer to his back. Yeah.
So Sting has to deal with the Bucks now by himself for a good 5-10 minutes, including at one point getting thrown into a plate glass. He got a power bomb through a table. He took multiple EVP triggers, and there was, he kicked out of 2, he then kicked out at 1. At some point in time, Ric Flair got in the ring, was trying to cover him, like, no, don't hit him with the belt.
Don't
and
protect
then
my friend.
he took 2 super kicks to the face.
That's a
and then
good
Ricky
idea, Rick.
Steamboat stood up. He took 2 super kicks to the face.
Because that's a good idea, Ricky.
Matches kept going on. The Bucks were convinced they were going to get the win. They hit him with the belt. He still kicked out. Don't know what in the world's going on with Sting here. Eventually, Darby Allin does get involved. Finally.
Lands on his back, which is bleeding worse than a stuck pig,
Yeah,
but
onto
decides to
Matthew.
just fall onto Matthew with that because, again, good life choices.
Which Sting then turns into the Scorpion Deathlock and actually gets a tap out. And ends his career, not just at AEW, but his career period, with a victory and is an undefeated AEW World Tag Team Champion. And it was at that point that I was crying. Because you don't hear that often in pro wrestling, that the guy gets to leave with a victory. And it had come out a few weeks ago that he didn't even want the tag team championships. And yet he got them for his 25th title of some sort. In Greensboro, which is the same place he got his first title shot that went to a 45-minute time draw. Apparently, I thought it's where he won it. It was a time limit draw with Ric Flair.
Ah, gotcha.
So he became a name in Greensboro, and ended his career in Greensboro in front of 16,000 people.
Yeah. And
It was incredible.
They were going crazy for them. But as he was emotional about it, I said, you know what, he's getting to go out the way he wants to. And that very, very rarely happens in wrestling, right? Some people go out in many, many ways they don't want to. We'll just put it that way. And he got to go out the way he wanted to. And I thought what a wonderful gift that Tony Khan was able to give him. And Darby Allin, good Lord have mercy, he almost killed himself to be able to make this match happen as well.
He said he would die in Sting's last match.
Near the end, Sting comes over and he's like, how many stitches is this going to take to recover? And he's like, I said I was going to die in this match, but I'm still here. So that's some good news. Like, yeah, that's good news, Darby. Thank you. And
no idea what they're going to do with the tag titles at this point, but frankly, I don't care.
No. And I sincerely
We'll find out on Wednesday.
That's true. And I sincerely hope, and I mean this in absolute sincerity, that Sting is able to, or if he goes as Sting, if he goes as Steve, I don't care, that he's able to stay around in the wrestling business in whatever way, shape, or form he wants to.
Yes.
Because he is such a mind.
Vacation.
After a vacation. That's true. Can he take a rest from all of those falls and then the plate glass? Yes. But if he wants to sit back there and gorilla, be a trainer, be a writer, I don't care. But he's got so much ability to mentor in so many different ways in wrestling. He's just got this personality of like a wrestling dad, and he's done it for 38 years. He's got all the experience in the ring. Plus, he's got a mind. I can see him being like this calm, steady voice of reason if somebody decides to go off their rocker somewhere. I could see him being able to help with that situation. I sincerely hope he stays and that he doesn't just go, because he still has so much to offer, even if he's not going to put his body on the line anymore like he did, which is totally reasonable. He can still go. Like, he could still go. The man is in his mid-60s. And he absolutely could still go. So he's going out strong. He's not going out in a disaster of a match. He's not going out with a broken neck. He's not going out, because he's too frail to do it. No, he's going out, and he gave us a great match to end. So I just thought it was really beautiful that we actually got this. We don't get this very much as wrestling fans.
It's interesting. He started doing this persona as the Crow when the Crow movie came out.
Yes.
There's a new Crow movie coming out, and he's wrapping up his career.
Yeah, so here's the interesting... So,
that's so cool.
If you didn't hear Lance commented that he started this black and white Crow persona around the time frame the movie, the original Crow came out. Brandon Lee, I think is who sadly passed away, I think before the movie was finished, right?
Yes. Bruce
So,
Lee's son.
Apparently, he had never seen the movie, knew nothing about the movie before he came up with the character. He found out after the fact that they looked so familiar. And yet now there is a new Crow movie with Brandon Skarsgård, I think is who's taking on the role. Not Brandon. Bill Skarsgård, I think is who it is.
Okay.
But just interesting that it began as the black and white staying around when the Crow started, and as ending when a new Crow starting. But there's a very interesting point from Lance. Long and short of it, it's an A+. Like I said, it is.
You should see it.
It's dramatic. It's worth the $50, and just go do it. And if you don't buy it for replay now, as soon as Shop AEW or Pro Wrestling Tees has the Blu-ray or DVD for sale, buy it then. Watch it then. Don't pirate it. It's worth the money.
Yeah, it's worth it.
It's so good.
If for nothing else, I was going to say Ospreay's match, the Sting match, the FTR.
Just Blackpool Combat Club, Will
match.
Ospreay, and Sting. Like that's.
If you watch nothing else, you could watch those three, and you would get your money's worth on those matches.
Absolutely. So, with that, WrestleMania season's coming up soon. Hopefully, in the near future, we'll have some of our own predictions. And if we don't, make sure you check out some of our other podcast friends that we know, like the folks at with Brian Alford and forgive me, Level Up, is that right? Next Level, I think is who their podcast is. But forgive me, whatever. Definitely check them out. Check out Wall Culture. Check all the podcasts out. Get your opinions if you want them, or just go watch the shows. WrestleMania is going to still be on Peacock, so you can pay $5 to get WrestleMania, $10 if you don't want the advertisements. Do that. AEW Dynasty, April 21st. Squared Circle Expo is Easter weekend here in Indianapolis. Just enjoy wrestling. Be glad you have that. And most importantly, thank you, Sting.
Tell me why Sting is so important to you.
Okay, so I've been put on the spot. Why is Sting so important to me? So, I was a WCW fan. I've said this before. I was diehard WCW primarily because they got Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was my guy. He left WWF, and he went to WCW, and I followed suit. And then when he went, quote, bad with the NWO, I was one of those kids that was heartbroken. Like, my hero is a bad guy now. So when Sting, after he felt he had to turn his back on those that turned his back on him, had to take his time away and then return as that black and white Sting, he was, as WWE referred to him, the vigilante that stepped up to take down the nefarious bad guys that were the NWO. And for me, it felt like he was providing the vengeance that we couldn't on these bad guys, particularly for me, on Hulk Hogan. Yep, that's right. I'm a fan of Sting because of revenge. Sorry. But
he was the hero.
He was. Well, but here's what's cool about this.
Or an
because
anti-hero.
I've been watching Sting since then. And during his time in WCW, there was a point where Hogan finally went back to the red and yellow. And he teamed up with Sting. There was also a point when Sting turned on red and yellow Hogan. So I've seen both where Sting was the bad guy. So we've seen that side of it. But then later, I saw Sting and Hogan again. And Sting, as Joker Sting, brought out good guy Hogan from the management Hogan. So Sting means a lot to me because Sting, like me, always saw the good in not just Hulk Hogan, but in everyone.
Yeah.
He was always good, and he always saw the good in the... Yeah, he played a heel a couple times, but he always saw the good in the ones that I loved. So he was, for personally speaking, he was a religious man, Christian, much like myself and many of the people I know. He had his demons. He fought through a lot. He was saved. I'm glad to have been a fan during almost his entire career.
And as someone who was not a wrestling fan in Sting's early career, I knew the name Sting, but I didn't follow him the way he did. So my first real introduction to him is when he came into AEW. And I was curious because I knew that he wasn't supposed to wrestle. WWE wasn't comfortable with giving him that opportunity, and yet he wanted to keep going. And as a result, okay, so he comes into AEW, and I'm like, what are they going to do with him? Like, how active is he going to be? What is his role going to be? And I had so much respect for the way AEW handled it, because he was able to be that mentor to Darby Allin. He could be that support. Darby Allin is still crazy. He's just crazy. And Sting was like a balance point to it. And yet he could still kind of stoke the fire and keep pushing Darby Allin to be even bigger than he already was. Like, he lifted Darby, right? He used that incredible history he had to lift Darby. He used it to push others to the front. And yet there was always this kind of steady, reliable, I don't know, I've been there, I've done that, I've lived enough of wrestling that I know it's going to work. And the rhythm that he was able to keep, he didn't push himself too far. Boy, he pushed himself. But he knew when he needed to take a break, and he would back off and he wouldn't do stuff for a while. I just have so much respect for someone who still, I say that one, okay, who still loved what he did in his mid-60s. And it reminds me a whole lot of our established facts, yes, I'll nod to it, interview with Tracy Hickman, who is a writer and who still loves what he does. Tracy's in his late 60s, so he's not that much older than Sting. And he still loves the creative process of what he does. And Sting still seemed to love the creative process of what he was doing in wrestling. And I have so much respect for that, because to still have that fire after doing it for that 38 years of beating your body up a lot and going through some pretty yucky situations in your business and still coming out, still saying thank you to Greensboro, still saying thank you to Darby Allin. To me, that was inspiring in the same way that Tracy's work and his creative, his writing and his other creative outlets, it's inspiring. I want to be like that when I'm in my mid-60s and still love what I do that much, and to leave on his own terms. He got to leave on his own terms, and he can come back on his own terms. I'm sure he can come back and do whatever he wants, and that's exciting and inspiring.
Does that answer your question, Lance?
You got it.
Well, thank you again for joining us on the stable. And
It's
as Don would
1:18
say,
a.m. Oh, you mean as Don would say? I think he would say, "Thank you, Sting."
he would say thank you, Sting, but he'll also
Sting.
say, "We'll check you later." Bye.
Bye.